to first see what an enterprise needs, let's say over a 5 years time frame, then sort of define a solution for that, and then automate the whole system. I have 4 different case studies, all in different sectors, and just to show that if you were in that segment, then you need to do this much at least in order for the value to be visible, both for the company as well as for the customers or the stakeholders, basically for all of them. Okay, so now the business paradigm is changing basically. So if you were to look at the old brick and mortar kind of systems, so it is easier to find out what exactly needs to be done because it has been running for a long time. Now, if you were to look at the new systems, information itself is business. The business originates from a different value system. So for example, some of these things, they created a business. The business didn't exist before. So in that scenario, IT is actually at the heart of this whole thing. You're actually selling the IT itself, or in such a situation, the product which is being sold is so, it's evolving over a period of time. If you look at Google, for example, it actually is creating newer and newer products based on what is saleable or what the customer wants, and we'll see a little bit later. Now, other kind of things are where TCS has been also a part of it, are delivering services to a very, very wide segment of the population. Over there, you have all sorts of challenges, like for example, AP Online, MP Online, and Maharashtra Online. These are the 3 major projects that TCS has been actually working on. But essentially, the objective is to deliver services to the remotest part of these states, to people who have no understanding or no background in computers, in an area where power is a problem, communication systems is a problem, almost everything is a problem, and the cost of transaction itself is very low. So somebody, if you are from a banking background or intend to be a banking background, financial inclusion is turning out to be a new challenge, taking banking to the innermost segments where 100 rupee or 200 rupee is the per transaction, debit in the credit account. So over there, what will happen is that you have to somehow see if the business model becomes viable. Therefore, more and more services have to be delivered. For example, in this AP Online, government could not deliver sufficient transactions, so we went to the private companies like ICICI Lombard. They actually withdrew their people and then we were selling insurance policies to their this system. Or it could be, for example, mobile recharging and many more such things. So design more and more services so that these systems become viable. Okay, so these are the service transactions, very low cost, and it has to be just sent far and wide. Now, other part of it is some of these things are, for example, Ministry of Company Affairs that we just discussed. Now, Ministry of Company Affairs will have the most reliable data about the corporate sector. About every domain, you will have the most authentic data which has a legal base to it. If you want to know, let's say, about the steel industry, for example, so you will know exactly what is happening in the steel industry. Or if you were to look at one company, what is its financial base, for example, whether what is that debt ratio currently, or its financial condition is good or not good. So that is where you have a very authentic piece of data. And nowadays companies, and in fact the government is actually trying to monetize the data that they have. So besides these service delivery to the customers, they are basically trying to see if they can get some value out of the data that they have. So newer and newer business areas are being discussed. industrial. The same thing is the planning missions and etc. And I'll come to that. Basically, the objective will be that there is a joint government. There is one government which is delivering services, while in the back end, many government departments are actually integrating together. So, just to clarify, I have technology background, but working with government in the government sector. So, like TCS is across industry segments. So, one of them industry segment is government. So, I'll take some examples from government sector. So, basically, there are different models, different areas. So, we are talking about global customers. For example, in Ministry of Company Affairs, you can open up a company sitting anywhere in the world, 24/7. Okay, you can get data about these anywhere in the world. So global customers, large number of transactions, and many times the value per transaction is small. Therefore, you have to find a way to make this whole thing viable. Okay, and the other thing is that you take a business unit part of this, some part. For example, in passport, for example, passport is a function of Ministry of External Affairs. So it is the whole part has to be automated in order for you to do something. You cannot say that just automate this part of it. Let's see what happens. Take for example, Indian Railways. If you have to get some value out of freight automation, like we have been talking with the Railways, unfortunately, could not convince them that the whole section from Delhi to Calcutta, the whole freight has to be automated in order for you to realize whether there is some value in it or not. So, end-to-end automation is what we are talking about. From management point of view, let me say is that starting point is what is the business process that you need to automate? What is the re-engineered, optimized business process that you need to automate so that there is an overall efficiency in the organization. So, technology, management, business processes, etc. Find your role in it. When you join a company somewhere, you will say, okay, in this business sector, my role is the business process side of it. Okay, and I will try to ensure that this is the most automated business process with minimum human intervention. Like, I mean, that is my goal whenever I work on any architecture. So, for example, Airport Authority of India Limited, almost every stakeholder, whether it's internal or external, they have to be integrated and the process is automated so that the overall value can be achieved. So, the objective will be to see what is your role in this whole business model. Okay, and I'll come to that a little bit more in details, whether you're on the technology side of it or on this side of it, and we'll see how it works out. Now, if you were to look at it, then you will say that you have two basic components. One is the technology side of it, technology standards, enterprise architectures, business process transformations. Many times people say that, okay, whatever is happening today, I just automate it. Okay, but that doesn't work out that way. You have to first re-engineer it, transform this whole process before you will then automate it. And then, because I'm talking about enterprise transformations, then you will see that there is a fair bit of money involved in it. I mean, in government sector, sometimes they used to say that, okay, this year I have only this much budget and therefore I should do this much only. But that is a very tiny piece of it. Therefore, newer business models have been implemented. For example, AP Online, NP Online, Mahara Online that I just mentioned to you about, TCS and the government has actually set up joint ventures companies. So it's a separate joint venture company wherein TCS owns X percentage of it and the remaining one is with the government, and then it's an exclusive arrangement with government. You can't have multiple of these because then it will reduce the number of transactions that go through your system and it will make your business model less viable. So in such cases, you have different kind of business models that you need to have. So partnership approach, crux of the successful implementation of large projects. I actually am talking more from the government point of view where the partnership is there. If many of you will actually be joining the private corporate sector, you have to see how that partnership can be evolved. Nowadays, a lot of companies have outsourced everything. For example, almost full of GE's, General Electric is actually automated, for example. So in such an environment, the partnership is whatever, in whatever form shape, that is a requirement more so in the government sector where still, in India at least, it is still maturing, so to speak. Okay? And that is how it is. So now, a few of those things here I will say, quality excellence is achievable only if you have end-to-end transformation of it. Now, I can say from the government point of view, in India, for example, it is a greenfield approach. Most of these organizations that we're talking about, police and this and that, are currently not automated. And therefore, we say, okay, totally end-to-end process transformation. Only then you can have quality excellence that is achieved. Okay, and then we say, okay, this part of the business is one logical model, but one logical module, so to speak. Let me want to make this whole part of it, not get piecemeal part of it. And then I will have a complete business function with all these budgetary functions and all of that. All of these things put together will be your defining principles. It makes more sense in the government sector. I don't know about the way it is. Let's say General Electric as a company has so matured so much that a lot of these things have been actually addressed long time ago, but not in the government sector, and that in particular in the Indian corporates. So what happens is that management, as I was talking to you about, most of these organizations have a very long-term view. So prior to TCS, I was working abroad in Asian countries, and over there they will have a 5-year time frame. So let's say in the project that I worked on in '94, they knew that in 10 years time frame they will change it. So even before the first one has actually been put in place, by '96 onward they had started the planning for 2004. Okay, so from a management point of view, you need to have a strategy and vision for 5 years. Let me give you an example. In Hong Kong, for example, they said that I want my immigration clearance in 15 seconds. Why? Because you see, there's just so many people on Chinese New Year, they cross from Hong Kong to China. I mean, the whole control point is just short. So they say in 15 seconds. Where they got the number 15 seconds, I don't know, but they said that I want this. From there onward, the rest of the strategic projects that came out. I should have the electronic ID card. I should have the fingerprints, biometrics, face matching, and this and that, and the rest of these things come up. And that is what will then give you a long-term 5-year set of projects. And based on their dependency, you can say that year 1 will have these many projects, year 2 will have these many projects, year 3 will have these many projects. So they will then prioritize these projects and define the dependency on each other, and then say, okay, these are the 10 or 15 projects I need to do in order for me to meet my business vision. Strategy that I have for this project, I can meet only if I have these. For example, in this case that I'm talking to you about, they said I have to change the whole data communication network throughout. I have to change from a card-based ID card to an electronic card. It should have the biometrics. In fact, they also have a automated passenger gate. I mean, I just put my card in, I have to put my fingerprint on it. If they match car, gate opens and you just go. Okay, so this is a part of the management decision to say that this is my vision, this is what I need to do. In order to achieve this, then there is a strategic study. So this is the highest level in management course that I have gone to, which is the IT systems strategic study for the next 5 years. These are the projects I need to do, and this is the dependencies and the rest of it. And after that, there is almost a solution for each of these projects, and then we have detailed budgets and all of that so that we don't run out of money, and all of these things are in place. And then in case there is a need, then there is a proof of concepts needed. For example, in this case, they needed a proof of concept for these automated passenger gates, for example. So that was a separate project by itself. And once that is all done, then the implementation starts. So now this is what the way people implement these systems. From a management point of view, you will see what is the business process that you need to implement for for example, a passenger to go through. But prior to that, there will be processes which will relate to how do I issue the ID card, or how do I do this and all of that stuff. So this is the business process layer of these things, and then they get implemented on the technology platform that we implement. And over a period of time, these processes keep getting more and more automated, and the business functions keep changing. For example, in the Indian context, currently IT Act, no, not IT Act, the Companies Act 1956 is implementing, and the 2010 or whenever that gets passed, whenever that is implemented, the whole system has to get changed. So from a process point of view, those things have to change. Technology should be so versatile that I can quickly change these processes for me to quickly implement it. So this is basically a long-term view for an enterprise. And in the Indian context, my observation has been that this part in the government sector at least is really done. Okay, and then you run out of budget, you run out of overrun, and this in the government sector, this is where the problem. Okay, so scope clarity, architecture clarity, budget availability, those kind of things, and this is where even management has a role to play. What happens is that we come out with projects, we say that this is the cost likely to be, and say, well, we have to see whether the benefits for this particular project is able to sort of justify the cost, and if no, then we remove it from that list, otherwise we keep it. So there is a cost benefit analysis during the strategic study itself. And over there, the objective is that if you have a project where cost can be justified with the benefits that accrue from there, then nobody will even object. Nobody will say that, okay, give me free or give me X% discounts or whatever. Because they know that cheap things are not good. Okay, so these are the things at the management level, and then finally you reach at this level, and that is where the implementation part starts. Okay, so if I were to say these are the core of the services to be delivered, this is a little bit of technology as a background. These services are to be delivered. Let me give you an example. In the context of Delhi Jal Board, for example, we are currently working on it. The core service is delivery of water, and the technology that is needed is for that part, which is their core. Airport Authority of India Limited, I will have an example of that. To ensure that the airport keeps running is the core of the system. Okay. With financial background, for example, I had a chance to work on the financial intelligence unit, for example. So all these banking transactions above 50,000 something, they go to the financial intelligence unit, which is Ministry of Finance. They go there. Now, what is their core? Core is to analyze the transactions and see if there is any risk pattern that is originating out. The rest of it is all, I mean, it's not very important. So long as you can analyze the data, you can see whether there is any risk patterns that you can detect, then you have the core of the business functions. So this is the core services that we have delivered. Enterprise, the whole business unit is automated, and then there is a transformation. Okay, like for example, in case of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs or passports, the complete customer interaction was removed, and then they have to actually go to a new set of offices. So there is a total transformation of this whole company. And then, as I said, agile services means that quickly you can change the processes, quickly you can change the business rules that keep changing. Okay. For example, in Ministry of Corporate Affairs, we say that electronic processing is there, but then you say first in, first out. So unless you clear this file, the other one you won't even get. Okay, so there is these whole sorts of business processes that have to be developed, evolved, and then quickly implemented. Okay, and then business processes and change management part of it. Okay. Now this is more of a technology side. Only to give you a message that in government at least there are many departments involved, and they split even one module into many parts. Okay, so say for example, if there is a infrastructure, they also split it in many parts. If there are some applications, they also split it in many parts, with the result that the end application systems is not built. Okay. So logical model implemented as one project and governed by one team. So this is what. Let me go to this a few of the case studies that I have. One is this policing system. The automation of the whole police operations all around the country. So over there, the core of this system is nationwide integrated policing as per the legal system. Legal system means that police is a state subject, and then federal structure, and then integration across police, and all these kind of things. And then integration across states, how it will happen, and transformation and all of that stuff. So now, collaboration across states is what was the intentions here. Unless there is a collaboration across states, you will not get the value that is originating out of it. Now, just to say that these are number of states and these are number of police stations, and this is how they have sort of hierarchical operations here. Now, our analysis was that you need 30 lakh policemen if you have to reach an international average of 270 policemen per 100,000 people, which is a very, very large number. And for that to happen, you need a lot of resources as well as IT infrastructure. But anyway, what the objective was is to give a national perspective for policing. Unless you have that, you will not be able to realize the value for whatever you are trying to achieve. Okay. Now, it will make all the more sense. Let's say these are all states. So we say it is a federal structure. Every state is separate. So I have it all separate. Okay. But as far as the citizen is concerned, all look the same. Now let me say that, okay, in the NCR region, you have a problem in Gurgaon. Okay, now you will just go to Haryana police station and then say that, okay, this is a problem. But by the time that vehicle has already crossed various states. Okay, so unless there is an integration between this state and this state, you do not know what happened. I mean, how good is it if, let's say, I have a computer system and I can just record your FIR. It's just a back office thing becoming automated. Okay, so in this case, you will have, if FIR gets reported first, message gets broadcasted to all states that I have this car missing. Or if the vehicle is found first, then this fellow says, hey, I have received this vehicle. But because it's a federal structure, it is a messaging based environment. So a message goes from here to here, and in technology terms it means different things, not in email system. But it's a well formatted message and all that. And if you not want to respond to it, you can delete it. I don't want to respond to it. But anyway, if you want to collaborate, then everybody collaborates. So this is what I found, this is what I lost. Okay? And then you will say, okay, this is registered in Delhi, so let me also find out in Delhi as to who owns it and everything, so that's all. Now, in order for a system to make sense, in order for a system to deliver value, you have to create an environment where all stakeholders are involved and all stakeholders collaborate and they implement the system in a given time frame.
One question, sir.
Yes.
When we talk about the collaboration among the policing systems in various states, are we saying that this is something which is in the concept stage right now, or this is something which is a reality of day to day, and this collaboration of information among state police actually takes place?
Okay. It's a bit of a complex question. Complex in the sense that when TCS proposed, that is what we proposed.
Okay.
Okay. And this is out of my proposal back to
Okay.
Okay. Unfortunately, the previous slides that I gave are applicable, where they divide this whole thing in such a manner that how they are implemented. Okay.
So this is currently in the concept stage.
I would not say it is in the concept stage, but the implementation is sort of messed up. Okay. So if you were to go back, this is a central system and this is a state system. These two are being implemented at a software level, not developed at a software level as a separate project. Then it will be handed over to all states to do whatever they want with it, and each state will implement it as a separate tender. If it is a separate tender, then we do not know when those 35 tenders will be implemented. Okay? Then different states are at different maturity levels. So if let's say the states are in the northeast and they are not in a stage where they can implement these things, then their implementation will be delayed. So if it takes 5 to 10 years time frame to implement these things, the value will not be derived.
So the individual state island systems are in the process of development, and the messaging among the